Please don't forget subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to get notified of new daily videos.
I should have known better than to seek solace in a place called Blackwood. The name alone should have been a warning. But when Thalia Egan died, when her car skidded on that icy patch of highway, taking her with it, I didn't care about warnings. All I cared about was escaping the apartment we'd shared, escaping the echoes of her laughter, the scent of her lavender candle, the phantom warmth of her on the other side of the couch. The silence was deafening, suffocating. So I sold most of my belongings, packed a few essentials, and bought a small, isolated cottage on the edge of the Blackwood State Forest. It was cheap, rustic, and miles from anywhere. My cousin, Lee Atkinson, tried to talk me out of it. "Kylie Ybarra," he'd said, his brow furrowed with concern. "You shouldn't be alone right now, not after Thalia." He meant well, but he didn't understand. I needed to be alone. I needed to drown in my grief without anyone watching. The cottage itself was old, nestled amongst towering pines. It had a musty smell that I convinced myself was just damp wood, a comforting anchor in my sea of sorrow. For the first few weeks, it was exactly what I needed. Long walks in the silent woods, staring at the lake, just being. But then, the quiet started to change. It began subtly. A faint whisper of Thalia's favorite song, a melody I hadn't thought about in years, seemed to drift from the empty guest room. I'd freeze, heart hammering, then dismiss it as the wind. Then there was the scent. Thalia had a signature perfume, a blend of rose and cedar. One evening, as I walked past the closed bathroom door, I caught a distinct whiff of it. My breath hitched. I threw the door open, but the room was empty, the window sealed. Nothing. I started finding things. A small, handcrafted ceramic bird Thalia had given me years ago, a piece I cherished. I always kept it on my bedside table. One morning, I found it on the kitchen counter next to the coffee maker. I distinctly remembered placing it back on my nightstand the night before. I laughed it off, a shaky, humorless sound. Grief was playing tricks on me, making me forget things. Or maybe I was just losing my mind. The whispers grew bolder. Not just a song, but my name. "Kylie!" Soft, lilting, exactly like Thalia's voice. I'd whip my head around, convinced she was there, just behind me. Sometimes I'd swear I saw her reflection in the darkened window panes at night, a fleeting silhouette in the periphery, gone as soon as I focused. I started leaving her old scarf on the armchair in the living room, a desperate, irrational comfort. I'd find it draped over the back of my dining chair the next morning. I was falling apart, and I knew it. I called Lee once, rambling about the ceramic bird. He listened patiently, then gently suggested I visit a grief counselor. "It's natural to feel her presence, Kylie," he'd said, "especially when you're so isolated." He didn't understand. It wasn't just a feeling. One night, the entity stopped playing games. I was sitting on the couch, staring into the dying embers of the fireplace, a half-empty glass of wine in my hand. The air grew impossibly cold, and the scarf on the armchair slowly, deliberately, slid to the floor. Then, from the hallway leading to the bedrooms, a figure emerged. It was Thalia, or it looked like Thalia. Her long, dark hair, her favorite blue sweater. My heart leapt with a horrifying mix of terror and desperate hope. "Thalia," I whispered, my voice raw. She smiled, but it wasn't Thalia's smile. It was too wide, too fixed, stretching her lips unnaturally. Her eyes, usually warm and expressive, were black, depthless pools, and her movements, they were jerky, like a marionette with tangled strings. "Kylie," she breathed, her voice a distorted echo of my friend's. "You've been so lonely." My wine glass slipped from my fingers, shattering on the stone hearth. This wasn't Thalia. This was something else. "Get away from me," I choked out, scrambling backward on the couch. The Thalia figure took a step closer, its head tilting at an unsettling angle. "Don't you miss me, Kylie? Don't you want to talk about it? The way you blamed yourself after the accident." It knew our deepest secret, the irrational guilt I harbored about a stupid argument we'd had just hours before she died. Thalia would never weaponize that. "You're not her," I sobbed. "Oh, but I am," it purred, its voice deepening, layering with something guttural beneath Thalia's timbre. "I am all your memories of her, all your grief, all your sorrow, and I'm hungry." It lunged, not with malice, but with a terrifying hunger in its eyes. I threw myself off the couch, scrambling for the front door. The entity moved with unnatural speed, blocking my path, its face contorting further, a shifting canvas of Thalia's features melting into something monstrous. Its arms reached for me, long, spindly fingers tipped with what looked like razor-sharp nails. "Let me in, Kylie," it hissed, its voice now a cacophony of whispers. "Let me be her, let me be you." The words hit me with the force of a physical blow. It didn't want to hurt me. It wanted to become me, to replace Thalia in my mind and then consume me entirely. I knew, in that split second, that if I let it touch me, I would lose myself forever. I would be trapped in an eternal, twisted remembrance of Thalia, controlled by this parasite. "No," I screamed, a strength I didn't know I possessed surging through me. "You don't get her, you don't get me." I grabbed the cast iron poker from beside the fireplace, a heavy, unwieldy weapon, and swung it wildly. It wasn't a direct hit, but the unexpected resistance made the entity recoil, its form flickering. It shrieked, a sound that tore through the air, vibrating in my bones. For a moment it stood there, its face a distorted kaleidoscope of pain and anger. Then, with a final, resentful glare, it dissolved, melting back into the shadows of the old cottage walls, leaving behind only the unbearable cold and the lingering, sickening scent of rose and cedar. I didn't stay to see if it would return. I ran. I ran out of the cottage into the frigid night, not even stopping for my car keys. I ran until my lungs burned and my legs gave out, finally collapsing on the side of the deserted road, sobbing uncontrollably. Lee found me hours later, huddled by his porch light, shivering, incoherent. He took me in, listened to my disjointed story with an expression of profound sadness and concern, but I knew he thought I'd finally broken. I'm safe now in his spare room away from Blackwood, but the silence here feels different. It's not peaceful, it's watchful. I still smell the perfume sometimes, a faint, almost imperceptible trace that only I can detect. And in the darkest corners of my mind, I hear the whispers. "Kylie," so lonely. I don't know if it's truly gone or if it simply latched onto me and followed. I sleep with the lights on now, and every shadow feels like a hungry eye.
If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like it. And please do subscribe to support the channel.